Greetings, everyone. I'm the cameramandylanfan, Richard B. Westland, and my new book, 12 Rounds with Bob Dylan, the Pugilistic Poet, will be available this June on Amazon. And it brings together two concepts that may help in understanding Bob Dylan's expansive body of work. Dare I say, in 12 artistic periods. Round 3, the Electric Expressionist period, September 1964 to July 1966, is exemplary of the artist's first stylistic transformation. When Bob Dylan went electric, he took rock music to a whole nother level, with 34 new, unparalleled songs, although a handful from Bringing It All Back Home are in his previous solo acoustic style. The period's title indicates a change in his musical direction from acoustical folk music to electric rock music, and contains 3 official studio albums, Bringing It All Back Home, Highway 61 Revisited, and the first ever rock double album, Blonde on Blonde. Like a Rolling Stone from Highway 61 Revisited is considered by many to be the greatest rock song of the 20th century. The day after his motorcycle crash on July 29, 1966, is day 1 of round 4, the post-crash period. But Bob Dylan was not driving into any new musical territory at this moment in time, because his entire professional and artistic axis changed when he spilled his Triumph T100 motorcycle on a Woodstock country road. Bob Dylan required some recovery time because he had broken some vertebrae in the crash and suffered other scrapes and bruises. At this point, everything in his professional world came to a standstill. This ironically became a stroke of good fortune for the artist and his young burgeoning family, because they were all able to spend much-needed time together and share in genuine family life experiences for an extended period of time. About 3/4 of a year after the accident, Bob Dylan was able to resemble his musical self and get back together with members of his band, The Band, who lived nearby. Over the spring and summer months of 1970, the musicians were able to comfortably and privately home record their easygoing jam sessions, putting to tape some 138 songs, with 79 being originally created by Bob Dylan. Somehow, some of the songs' sessions ended up on the first ever bootleg record called Great White Wonder, and was first marketed in 1969, and for years beyond that. The bootleg album got so much radio airplay and album sales that Bob Dylan and Columbia Records decided to officially release their own bootleg record called The Basement Tapes in 1975. Albums John Wesley Harding, Nashville Skyline, and Self-Portrait also reside in this period, which concluded in March 1970. Round 5, the renewed Troubadour period, runs from March 1970 to February 1974 and produced 3 albums: New Morning, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, and Planet Waves, Dylan's first #1 album. The title of this period is based on 2 factors, one being the term renewed, which refers to the word new in New Morning, the first album of the renewed Troubadour period. It's generally believed the artist was anxious to get back to work on a new album and renew his artistic sincerity after the poor effort on his previous self-portrait collection, on which he admits he was trying to deliberately derail his fame, as it had become more than he could bear, with dozens and dozens of fans trespassing at his family residence in Woodstock, New York. The word troubadour is used in the period's title because, as the dictionary defines it, a troubadour is any of a class of lyrical poets and poet-musicians. And Bob Dylan certainly fills that bill. Movie soundtrack album Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid is the second collection of the period, and besides composing the tracks for the film, Bob Dylan also played the part of Alias on the silver screen. The final album of the period is Planet Waves, and it went to #1, a harbinger of things to come. Blood Desire Street period, February 1974 through June 1978 is the name of round 6, and its title is based on the names of Bob Dylan's next 2 consecutive number 1 albums, Blood on the Tracks and Desire, and Street Legal, which reached a very respectable number 11. With Blood on the Tracks, Bob Dylan shifts pronouns, colliding cliches, and verb tenses as if they were in a blender to create the unique literary dynamics for the songs on what is considered by many to be the greatest breakup album of all time. Desire, famous for the docu-song Hurricane, hits some sonic uniqueness with the help of Scarlett Rivera's perfect violin accompaniment, passionately supporting Dylan's strains of guitar and harmonica. Street Legal 2 raises Dylan's lyrical and musical bar with some compelling sonic and lyrical uniqueness. Round 7 spans June 1978 through December 1982 and is called the Holy Spirit Period, as Bob Dylan converted from Judaism to Christianity and has embraced the gospel rock music style for his next 3 albums, Slow Train Comin', Saved, and Shot of Love. The first song on the first album, Gotta Serve Somebody, really shook the rafters of the rock music world as the familiar Voice of a Generation transforms lyrics, music, and vocals towards a well-defined and unique Christian rock gospel music sound. There is some very good songs across the 3 albums, but Christian music simply doesn't sell very well, nor does it get much commercial radio airplay. Bob Dylan on Shot of Love, the final album of the period, does leave his fans with the most sublime hymn he ever wrote and performed, entitled Every Grain of Sand.